Good morning. One of my early morning videos. Hey, look, I'm in a hot tub. I stayed at a hotel last night because I came over to Rockville, Maryland, actually Silver Spring, to a place where they have lots of renowned awakened people come and speak there periodically. People from India, people from all over the world. Byron Katie has been there, and you're just sitting in their living room basically with 6 to 15 other people for a satsang, a time when the awakened master just answers people's questions and sits with us and brings their energy and their insight and shares their experience and helps people with their own process of waking up. What's interesting is that the night before that, I ended up having my own little experience of a non-duality, and it was really fascinating. Well, I was actually reading about something like that. I was reading Byron Katie's new book, in fact, which I hadn't been to too many events of hers or read that book yet, and she was writing about physical pain and how it's always in the past. And I went back a little bit before that part, since I had just opened to that part, and read something else about sort of what her experience is of how it is, and suddenly part of me knew that that was absolutely true, and I shifted into a state where I was looking at my arms and they were holding the book, and I knew that my arms were no more a part of me than that book, and the rest of my body too. I sort of was able to expand out into thinking about the rest of my body and the bed I was lying on, and I was watching all of it, but I knew that my body wasn't me, and that this experience of being here wasn't all of it, and everything in the room. My body was just like part of everything in the room, and it was very light and very easy. And I've had this experience before of going to a place where I'm both the observer of the movie and I'm also in the movie, or the character of Shawn is in the movie, and I'm just watching what's happening and enjoying it. Really, nothing is serious. It's sort of a waiting to see what's going to come up next. And it's interesting because I didn't stay in that place for very long, even though it still felt good, and I didn't really argue with coming back and being back into being identified with my body. And yet, it still is, the thing that we can wake ourselves up to as we get less and less attached to the thinking. We become more and more open to the part of us that is not even this body, that this quantum physics clearly shows us that there's really nothing here but our consciousness, that this really is a dream, and that what's going on in our dream is not serious. So it was interesting that in that event with this awakened master, the talking about it, the telling people just drop the thoughts, just be bubbly, just the ways that he was walking us through and answering people's questions. He was just charming, and he laughed a lot, and it was wonderful. And yet my experience of that in general does not shift me. And it's the same way that I felt in church. And during the meditation, he kept referring to the state we're in as if we were already, aware of our own divinity and our own awakenedness. And I wasn't in that place at that point. I was experiencing some tightness in my throat and some, I just wasn't there in that place I had been in the night before, and other times when I'm aware of what he was talking about. And it made me more more compassionate than ever for all of us, for the parts of us that can't wake up to that unless we do. We can't wake up to it unless we are able to question the thinking that is keeping us identified with this body, with these strategies, with this way of seeing our lives. We feel that we need to hold on to whatever we're believing about ourselves and about the people that we feel are hurting us and about what we need to do to survive. And we can't let go until we do. And the waking ourselves up one stressful thought, one stressful situation at a time, one physical pain, emotional pain at a time, really does work, really is compassionate for ourselves, because it works every time. If we just go in and take a look at the conditions we've placed on our reality, on ourselves, on another, we can easily see that we're not the decider of what should be happening right now. We can't say what's a good or a bad outcome. We can easily see through our conditions, and then we're free again. Then we're light, then we're connected to the other person. And yes, we may not be completely awakened to our own oneness with all and the fact that we aren't this dream, but at least we can disassociate from our suffering and from the belief that our minds know exactly what's going on and what's needed for ourselves or another in any given moment. That argument with reality, we can very much fall into a trust in what's happening, what I call fearless faith, as opposed to sort of a forced faith where we're trying to believe what someone tells us we should believe, but we're just really not there. It's kind of and affirming and positive thinking and believing the spiritual party line of how it is when we don't really know that is a little bit violent to the part of us that honestly believes there is a problem and is concerned and worried and thinks something is wrong or is fearful. And so to be with that part of ourselves, to be the curious, compassionate caretaker, to be committed to questioning each thought until we realize that our minds know nothing, that it really is just a case of waking up to our fearful thinking, is very compassionate, and it works. It's taking logic, applying logic to find the faults in our own logic. And I just wanted to say, keep on, keep up the work you're doing. And it is awakening us at the exact pace that we can and need to awaken. Nothing is ever out of place. Take care. Love you so much. And if you're local, come on out on Sunday. I'm having a fall gathering at my house at 2 p.m., but you can come early if you want, anytime after 12:30, and just hang out in our beautiful spot. Feel free to reply to this email if you didn't get the information about that, and we'll get back to you and let you know where to come to. Take care. Love you. Bye-bye.